Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios and brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson's The Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We're here with an amazing lady who is a four-time award-winning transformational coach and international speaker, author, and minister, helping thousands create a path for living their dream life. And also worked 20 years with people seeking the secret component that helps accelerate success. Also discovered universal law and also the life force in a dark period of time, and also talks about the three keys to discovering the purpose and also living a life and breaking the stack of almost there. And what are the three keys? We'll find out live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in beautiful downtown Tucson, Arizona. The four-time award-winning transformational coach, international speaker, author, and minister of 20 plus years with the, as she's known as the Impact Multiplier. Ladies and gentlemen, the multi-talented Felicia Searcy. Felicia, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Mike. It is so great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's great to have you on board, Felicia. You're a four-time award-winning transformational coach and international speaker, author, and minister. You also worked 20 years with people seeking the secret component to accelerate success. You also discovered universal law and life force. You went there, period, as well. You can explain that. And also you talk about the three keys to discovering your purpose and basically living a big life and also breaking the stack of almost there. And of course, many of us have been there and done that. And just a number of things here, you being the impact multiplier. And before getting all that, Felicia, tell us how you first got started.
Yeah, it's a great question. So, like many people, many of your listeners, I grew up in a very dark environment. Both my parents really struggled with mental illness and addiction, lots of violence in the house. So the reason I bring that up is because it wired a particular, and I know that my parents were doing the absolute best that they could do. And what it wired in is that it caused me to have a view of the world of it being dangerous. Don't expect too much, keep your head below the radar. And that, somehow I should not expect as much good as other people, that, I should be happy with the bare minimum and just do not reach for much more of anything than what was right in front of me, which wasn't much. And that it was just not safe to be myself, and it was not safe to go for things, and it wasn't safe to expect much. And it created such a sense of despair in me that I actually hit a point where I began to seriously question whether or not I wanted to even stay on this side of things, to stay on the planet. And it was in one of those most vulnerable periods that, many of us have experienced, where you're open to a different possibility, you're open to different information. And it was at that point that somewhere along the line, I began to hear of a different way of being, a different way of living, that I could have a history, it could inform me, but it didn't have to define me. And that really began to hear that there truly are these immutable laws that govern our results, and that there is a life force energy that breathed us into existence, and that our natural state is one of fulfillment. Our natural state is one of abundance. And I grabbed hold of that for everything I was worth. I worked it, I studied it, I applied it. And that was when I was 22 years old. And I mean, my God, you've got to have a telescope, the Hubble telescope, to see where I was compared to where I
can use one
now.
right now.
Yeah. And nothing in my history would suggest that I would be where I am today in terms of a rich, fulfilling marriage, a highly successful business, helping thousands of people around the world, living in our dream state, our dream home. And as things began to change, I realized, oh my God, this isn't me. I'm not being specially picked out, that there really is a system. There is a spiritual success system that when anybody applies it, just like gravity, like when we learn to harness the power of gravity, we can fly. When we, in airplanes, when we learn to harness the power of this, we truly can create anything that we desire. And so I got on fire with learning, not only learning it, but learning how to teach it in order to be able to help other people transform their lives as well.
That's right, interesting as well, too, to talk about discovering universal law. You're at the dark period, and of course, life force as well, too. What exactly is universal law from your perspective?
Yeah, so I know that there's like a whole bunch of different different labels for laws, right? That, you know, there's a number of different lists. That's the words I'm looking for. There's a number of different lists of laws. And the one that people know that's the most common, that most people will distill universal law down into the law of attraction. So understand, so we understand the law of gravity, right? That I know that if I'm on a 10-story building, I'm in a 10-story building, I'm not going to walk out and step off a balcony and just assume I'm going to hit, you know, float down to the ground. We've got this phenomenon called gravity that it's not going to be pretty, right? And so I know not to do that. And we come to understand the law of gravity. We organize our lives around the law of gravity. Universal laws are the immutable laws that govern our results. There are laws that quantum physics are now proving that our thinking, our creative capacity actually has an energy to it, and that there are waves of energy that our thinking mixed with our feeling then emit out into this invisible field, where there are waves of unformed energy, according to quantum physics, hanging out in what they call superposition. Now, Mike, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I am not a quantum physics. I don't understand all the ins and outs of this. Good thing, because I don't have to understand the whole, you know, thing of electricity to know that all I got to do is flip the switch and get light, right? That in some fantastical way, and I do believe it, that this energy then forms what we are predominantly mentally rehearsing in this faculty of our imagination and charging with our feelings. It actually becomes a magnetic force where now there are elements that are coming to us and organizing around us and creates our results. So that is it in a nutshell. And there's lots of laws, like the law of reciprocity, the law of sufficiency, you know, the law of receiving, the law of thinking. There's lots of different laws, but the one to really dial into is the law of attraction, which is actually the secondary law, because the real law is the law of vibration.
That is rather interesting. I think you pretty much put in a nutshell yourself. It feels like a teacher as well, too. And of course, you know, I try to play one, but it's only on TV, so you got that. So, and of course, you know, how does this apply as well, too, when it comes to being almost there, getting unstuck, and how does this apply, getting vision and everything else? We'll find out with Felicia Searcy, but first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com. It's powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those who love read it first go missing. It's available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews, and Eve Levin endorsed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassie, Forge Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, or 40 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Music, iHeart, and Odyssey as well, too. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on YouTube, BitChute, and Rumble. Follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and take us with you on any mobile device. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show merchandise on Amazon.com at the Mike Wagner Show. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies. Makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas like T-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, phone cases, and more, Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Also for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and support us on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. We're here with the 4-time award-winning transformational coach and international speaker, author, minister, Felicia Searcy on the Mike Wagner Show, best known as the Impact Multiplier. Now, first of all, you the Impact Multiplier. How'd you come up with that name, and who gave you that name? Just wanted to ask you that first of all.
Well, several different people, right? Because one of the things that I noticed is that the people that I was attracting as clients were people who wanted to make a profound difference. That was the underlying conversation. And when you talk about almost it, so I'm going to weave all this together, Mike. That so many people, you have a desire knocking at your heart, your heart's calling, and you want to make a difference. Mike's making an amazing difference with this podcast, bringing in a number of really eclectic group of people together to share what's going on in the world and to give you different perspectives. That's your desire to make impact. And what happens is that people get a dream. It's a big, bold dream. It's a deep heart's calling. And they look at it and they get excited in the face of it. And then there's that part of them, there's a part of you that wants to go forward. That's life force energy seeking a greater expression through you. And then there's a part that's going to fight like crazy to keep you right where you are. Most people listen to that part and then they start dialing down what they think they want and they start settling. And they can build that, right? You can build what is within your purview to be able to see, but yet there's still that sticking point. There's still that longing, that soul dissatisfaction, because you're not quite there. And so the almost it is when you have a deep heart, a deep heart's calling, and you water it down because you don't believe that you can do it. And then there's a perpetual sense of I should be grateful, but yet a sense of dissatisfaction. So when people come to me from that state, I'm thinking of a woman by the name of Mary out of Ohio. She came to me in that state knowing that there was so much more that she was capable of, but yet she couldn't quite see it and she didn't quite believe it. And so as we began to work with this information, with these laws, she grew into her heart's calling. She really began to live into it, to manifest it. Her world changed, and she noticed how her impact was growing exponentially, that she wasn't just impacting a handful of people. Now she's impacting hundreds of people. Her income has grown double, and double again, working now 20, 30 hours a week, if that. So she's making an impact with her time, she's making an impact with her work, and she's making an impact with her money as she's learned to apply these laws to the thing that she desires. And she's no longer watering it down because she knows who she really is and what she's capable of and what she's connected to.
Wow, that's an amazing story. And of course, you also had a couple other clients as well, too, coming from different circumstances and and the like as well, too. Maybe you have another one that had a great story, or you also have one that had just like an extreme situation where people just brush you off. But how did you manage to take that person with extreme situation and make them a successful person the way they are?
Yeah, so it's the same process, right? So there was a woman, and there still is, she's still around. I don't mean to talk about these people in past tense because they're still here on this side of things and they're actually still clients. But there was a woman in Becky, there was a woman in Connecticut and is in Connecticut, called Becky, who had a brick and mortar, that she had a calling to serve people with a business. And she wasn't exactly clear what the purpose was. And, what she was doing was that she was working 60, 70, sometimes 80 hours a week. And every Sunday morning, she'd wake up with a knot in her gut because that was the day she had to do the books. And it was like a constant shell game, moving money around, trying to pay the most urgent bills that were coming up and hoping that it was going to come in to, pay later on down the road. And she was seriously considering giving this up. But at her heart, she was an entrepreneur. So she began to really dial in and, number one, get super clear about what her purpose is and why this was important, and really let herself have the magnitude of the desire that was making itself known to her, and learn how to work with these laws, learn how to put on being that woman now, allowing herself to really see it and act in accordance of that desire, even before a single thing in her world said that it was okay to do that. She lined up with that. And things, magical things began, what appeared to be magical, out of the blue. And Becky's dream was to have like an enterprise, that she wanted to have multiple businesses because she
Oh,
loves
wow.
businesses.
That's a
I
good
know.
thinker. I like that.
Yeah. And today she's running 3 businesses. She is a multi-million-dollar business owner, and she's working, again, maybe 30 hours a week. Her marriage, which was pretty much non-existent before because she didn't have time for it, is flourishing. She's flourishing with friends. Every area of her life is improving because you don't just work on one area, you work on all areas. But the thing that I help people understand is that it's not just about the results. The purpose of that heart's calling, that desire knocking at the door of your heart, the results are great. But the most important thing is to understand is that is the way life seeks to grow you, for you to discover more of who you are created to be, more of your magnificence. And what's been so breathtaking about watching Mary and Becky is watching them grow into these even more amazing beings, of confident, of just knowing how supported by this universal intelligence they are, and that they are on the right track. And here's a really important piece: building a deep sense of deserving and worthiness of all the good that's coming to them, where they are now able to receive it. They no longer push it away. They're now able to open up and receive the good that's coming to them.
That is so amazing. I love that. And what are some other methods they can use and fight through this and fight through that, and some of the other simple methods, simple solutions? What are some of the other methods that you also recommend?
Yeah, so it's a whole process. So the first thing I help people, that I recommend is start noticing those edges of discontent. Start noticing those places where you may be making things okay that are no longer necessarily okay, that you can feel yourself. Like, oh, okay, well, that's fine. That's okay. When I ask people how they're doing or how a situation is doing, that, oftentimes they'll say, it's okay. It's good. And there's a tone in their voice where you can tell that they're settling, they're making it okay, but they're really not. Start noticing where you're doing that, because that's your life talking to you. Then you want to take that discontent and you want to ask, all right, if I could do anything, if I really could change this, what would I love to change this to? Understand that the most powerful question that you can work with, and I want you to write this down because people have a tendency to forget, the most powerful, potent, really the holiest of all questions that you can work with is, what would I love? What would I love? What would I love to do, have, give, be? What would I love? Understanding that it is love itself. It is the force. It is the substance. It is the presence of love itself, seeking to express through you by means of your desire. Your desire is a divine download. You are divinely designed to desire. And in that desire is a promise that you will have everything required to bring it into form, as long as you hold the image. And then here's the other piece: you start seeing yourself as the person who has achieved that desire, that you put on the identity. Here's the thing to understand: we will never outperform the way we
True.
see ourselves.
Hmm.
We'll never outperform our identity. And so that desire is actually the invitation from this universal intelligence for you to begin to identify yourself differently, to identify with yourself, bold, courageous, worthy. You start putting those qualities on now before a single thing in your world gives you permission. The reason this is so important is because when you start seeing yourself differently, you actually have access to a whole nother level of creativity, of intelligence, and you're able to tap into the stream of intelligence that's always guiding you. So now you can see ideas, see opportunities that have always been there, but you didn't have access to that because you weren't thinking that way. And you begin to hear those ideas and see those opportunities. And you keep putting on the identity of the person who already achieved your desired results as you're taking those actions. Notice the changes that are happening. You want to pour focus in the changes that are happening. and you watch, you transform and your world transforms. So that's basically the formula in a nutshell. And it doesn't matter what the circumstances is. It's the same process. It's the same formula, no matter what.
And of course, you have to put on a headlight in order to do that, not just directional, not just narrow, but universal. You need to activate it. But how does one activate it, though?
So help me understand what you mean more by what you mean by that question.
To activate the universal headlight you mentioned?
That's your vision. That's your desire. Because here's the thing. It's, what I love about, I've never heard that term before, the universal headlight. That's great, Mike. I hope I can borrow that now. I'll give you credit.
You sure can. It's free, by the way. It's free.
Yeah. So here's the thing to understand. We have this amazing faculty called our imagination. It's always running pictures. It's always running a movie, right? Joseph Murphy calls it, the author of The Power of the Subconscious Mind, calls it the movie screen of our mind. We're always running movies in our subconscious mind. That subconscious, those movies then, or in our imagination, those movies then generate feelings, right? Those feelings will determine what you believe about the world, what you think is possible, which will then direct your actions and your expectations. Most people don't really understand that. In fact, most people use their imagination to terrorize themselves. They believe it's real. They believe what's happening in the world. Right now people are talking recession, and that there's lots of elements that are going on in the world. And please hear me, I am not denying that those facts are not there. The thing I want you to understand is that if you put your focus on those things, that's what's going to direct your expectation, and it's going to direct your actions, and it's going to direct what you are willing to receive. When you start believing, so this is the starting point, to start believing more in the power of your imagination, and to start taking, I hesitate using the word control, but start taking dominion, realize that you have authority over your imagination. And that when you work, one of the things that I do is that I immerse in study of understanding these laws. And this is when I'm able to bring the people that I work with, that when you really understand the power of your imagination, then the place to start is to start, number one, directing your attention to notice the things that are going to feed a expansive experience in your imagination. Start with a movie that brings you most alive, and then direct your focus to those things that support the movie, because all possibilities coexist simultaneously. You can pay attention there, you can find anything to pay attention to reinforce a pattern that you're thinking about. When you decide for a desire, a dream, and you start causing yourself to pay attention to those things that support that, now you're on your way. Now you build a bigger believing in it, you act accordingly, you are able to receive the good that's coming to you. So the starting place is to start noticing what you're paying attention to, build out an image that brings you most alive, and start focusing and paying attention to those things that reinforce that movie, that life-giving image in your imagination.
In other words, the heck with Netflix, YouTube, Tubi, Paramount, or anything like that. Just have a movie in your mind. I think that's a bestseller right there, Academy Award.
That's great, right? Yeah, because we're all movie makers. Make the movie that brings you most alive and build a belief in it.
And certainly as well, too. And of course, another one, too, is that we talk about the 3 keys, discovering your purpose and living life big. That could be a movie itself. And what are the 3 keys? We'll find out with Felicia Searcy. Listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios, and brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mulsazia Missing. We'll be back with 4-time award-winning transformational coach and international speaker Felicia Searcy as the impact multiplier after this time. We're back with the multi-talented Felicia Searcy here on the Mike Wagner Show, best known as the Impact Multiplier. And for those who are wondering about the 3 keys, discovering your purpose and learning to live big, this is like a movie, and this is the big moment you've been waiting for. What are the 3 keys, discovering your purpose and learning to live big, Felicia?
Well, I've actually alluded to them through the process, right? So the way to discover the 3 keys of discovering your purpose, start paying attention to what brings you most alive.
Mm-hmm.
Our purpose is that which we do, that we can't help but doing, right? Like my purpose is to help people discover what brings you most alive. And I do it formally with my coaching, with my trainings. I do it on podcasts. And I do it when I'm going through security lines in the airport. I'll never never forget. I'll always remember going through Kansas City, and I'm in the security line one day, and I'm in a conversation with a woman, and I ask her what she does, and she tells me, and I say, "Do you love it?" And I said, "Well, what would you love to do instead?" She said, "I'd love to go to medical school." So we're taking off our backpacks, and I think this was before Clear, and I don't think I was taking my shoes off because I think I was TSA pre-approved. But anyway, we're moving through the conveyor belt, and I'm talking to her, and I'm like, okay, well, what would it take? I just need to take the test to get into medical school. By when? And before we got through security, she had a date on the calendar by when she was going to do that. I can't help but do that. You can't help but draw out the best in Mike through your podcast. This is what you do. You are compelled to do that. So start noticing those places that you are compelled to show up, that you absolutely love. So that's number 1. Start noticing what is it that you really love. Then number 2, just like what I shared earlier, it's the basic formula. Start seeing yourself. Ask yourself, where is my growing edge in this? Where are the places that I need to discover? What are the qualities? Where are the places in me that I need to discover about myself in order to be able to grow those elements in me, in order to be able to serve this purpose? Because that's what you're doing. You're serving a purpose. So what is it that brings you most alive? Create an actual vision around it. That's all number 1. Number 2, who is my vision asking me to become? What are the qualities that I'm being asked to claim and to grow in order to be able to serve this vision? And then number 3, what are the actions I'm taking today? If I really believe this was possible, what are the actions I take today to serve this calling? So those 3 things will get you on your way. Simple, not easy. It takes a rigorous persistence in order to stay faithful to something that is yours, but you don't have evidence of it yet in your world.
Right. And I think you summed it up very well, just to make sure the 3 keys: discovering your purpose, living life big, and then how do people get in touch with you, and coaching and everything like that? How do people get in contact with you?
Yeah, so definitely my website, FeliciaSearcy.com. There's just a whole bunch of delicious things on there. Also, I have a gift. Can I share that, Mike? Not to
Absolutely.
put you
Yeah.
on the spot or anything.
Give out all the gifts you want. I mean, go right ahead. Think big. Come on. I'm not limiting you. Come on.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So, yeah, so as you've heard, that the foundation is your vision, and very few people really understand the finessing. Like there's an actual art and science to creating a vision. So I've created a whole toolkit that is my joy to give to you, where instructions on how to write a vision example, a vision meditation to listen deeply to what is coming most alive in you, and then a daily practice that I used to only be for my clients, and I'm now providing it with anybody who walks through the process of creating a vision. A daily practice of knowing what to do with that vision every single day, in the morning and in the evening once you put it together. So go to FeliciaSearcy.com /spiritual success and grab that. That is mine. My gift to you to really help you get going with what's coming most alive in you.
And once again, the website?
FeliciaSearcy.com.
And that is for the success part, in order to get the success toolkit part?
Yeah, FeliciaSearcy.com /spiritual success.
We will certainly do that, and we're writing it down as we speak, and she'll let everybody know where to go. Once again, we're Felicia Searcy, the Impact Multiplier, here on the Mike Wagner Show. Just a few more minutes here, Felicia. What else can we expect in 2023 and beyond from you?
For me?
Yes.
Well, I've got some events coming up here in Tucson. So if you want more information about coming to a 3-day in-person event where we dig really deep into this, please reach out. I'd be more than happy to give you that information. And I speak around the country, and my deepest desire is just to help you unlock the power that is you, to put it in service to a life that you love, knowing truly this is your highest contribution to our world.
And certainly very highly indeed as well, too. It makes me think of the Geico lizard. It's like you love what you do, it's not a job. So
I love that.
oh, I'm sure he's smiling by around all those lizards out there. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
So several people, but I worked primarily, and I continue to work with a mentor, Mary Morrissey, that she has been just a remarkable influence. And then some amazing authors throughout the ages. I like the original human potential writers that wrote at the turn of the last century, people like Thomas Troward, Genevieve Behrend, Wallace Wattles, Napoleon Hill. But Bob Proctor, I worked very closely with Bob Proctor for a while when he was on this side of things, and deeply love and appreciate him. So those are the primary people that have really influenced me throughout the ages.
And certainly amazing as well. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Right now, understand that desire, it's not your desire. The part of you that wants to blow it off, that feels selfish, it feels too big. Who do you think you are? Understand that the desire knocking at the door of your heart is actually the very essence, the substance that created you, and that you are serving a bigger calling when you really recognize that you don't have a desire, you receive a desire. And it is seeking to express through you and by means of you. So embrace the desire as the way that life is seeking to expand and express in bigger ways through you and by means of you.
And definitely do so. Very good advice. Once again, we're with four-time award-winning transformational coach, international speaker, author, and minister, Felicia Searcy, the impact multiplier on the Mike Widener Show. Felicia, a very big thanks for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Live have you back. Wish you all best. Once again, what's your website? How do people contact you? And where can people purchase your works or simply just check you out?
FeliciaSearcy.com, best place to go. If you want the spiritual success toolkit, FeliciaSearcy.com /spiritual success. So FeliciaSearcy.com /spiritual success, and grab that gift.
Certainly do so as well. Once again, Felicia, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Live have you back. Wish you all the best. And Felicia, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Thank you, Mike.